100 years since the Italian engineer Marconi experimented with radio signals at Lavenock Point near Penarth. Well, tonight our reporter Amanda Sargent is there. Amanda.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, 100 years on from Marconi's great experiment, this is how we do it today. This is one of the BBC's outside broadcast vans. It means we can broadcast to you live from anywhere in the UK, including this car park. But of course, back then it was all rather different. Now, Marconi spent several days here at Lavenock Point trying to contact his colleagues who are 3 miles out to sea over here on Flatholm Island. 100 years today, of course, he finally succeeded. The rest, as they say, is history.
A series of dots and dashes, a Morse code message signals Marconi's first ever broadcast between Lavenock Point and Flatholm. Reenacting the moment that was destined to launch radio and television, the Barry Amateur Radio Society marked the occasion in traditional Victorian style.
Well, it's a very special occasion. It was 100 years ago. The Barry Amateur Radio Society have annually put a radio station on from Flatholm Island, but this year is the 100th year, so we feel it's very, very important. And of course, we'll never get the opportunity to do this on the 200th occasion.
Why am I dressing up? It's fun. Everybody likes dressing up. I think the idea is to give the younger generation an idea of how they managed to get the radio, and it's fun for them to see how they looked during those times as well.
Yankee, Santiago, Japan, but I need your prefixes. Is it Italy too? Go ahead.
It was a discovery that not only heralded 20th century broadcasting, but has made it possible today to communicate with ships and aircraft, even outer space.
It was an epoch-making leap into the unknown then. There were ideas that it should be possible to generate waves, and some people had done this, but to send them over water was a very different proposition.
Tonight, Marconi's actual apparatus remains in storage, en route to a new home at the Science Museum in London. In Cardiff, a campaign is underway to bring it back to Wales.
It is an event that Wales should take more notice of. In particular now, we're growing in the electronic industry. Nothing would have happened in this industry if it hadn't been for Faraday and later on Marconi.
At Lavenock Point, little remains to mark Marconi's great achievement, but his fame lives on in 20th century radio and television.
Well, a little earlier we showed you the TV side of things. Now let's move on to radio. Now in here we've got a makeshift radio station. It's actually in someone's garden shed. Now it's being run by the Barry Amateur Radio Society, and they're all been very busy in here today. If I can come to you, Brian Brown first. Brian, how's it going today?
Very, very well indeed. A super day, a super event. Most historic.
Now you've got a lot of equipment here. Tell me about it.
Well, the equipment we have here, we have computers that program the computer logging programs. We have radios that we've supplied by the club and also supplied by Yaesu UK. And we have FastScan TV, which is another aspect of our hobby, which is, as you see there, is running for the program we ran this morning over on the island. And Jim has a small radio set there, and we have many over on the island.
And of course members of the public can come and visit all week.
Oh yes, every bit they can come here. We have
Brian, I must stop you there. Thank you very much. If I can just move on to Jim here, who's the station manager. Jim, have you been able to make contact with Flatholm yet?
Oh yes, we're in constant contact with Flatholm Island. Would you like me to call?
Please do.
GB100 Flatholm Island. This is GB100 Lavenock Point calling over.
GB100 Lavenock Point. This is GB100 Flatholm Island. Good evening, Jim.
Good evening, Andy. Could you tell us how you're doing over there? What sort of contacts have you had today?
Hey there, Jim. We're actually running 3 HF stations at the moment on 20, 40 and 80 metres. Our score up until about half an hour ago was 840 contacts. Probably getting on to 900 now. SDX.
Well, we have to stop you there. That is modern and 100-year-old science working together. Top that if you can, Sarah.
Radio enthusiasts have been celebrating a world first which took place in Wales. Exactly 100 years ago, the Italian inventor Marconi sent the first radio message across water from the Welsh coast of Lavenock to the island of Flatholm. It was an event that revolutionised world communications.
One small tap for man, one giant leap for mankind. That's the sort of remark Guglielmo Marconi might have come up with 100 years ago today if he'd had the backing of the NASA public relations team behind him. and in its way the world's first radio transmission across the sea was just as significant as the moon landing. Today local radio enthusiasts reenacted the Morse messages from Lavernock Point to Flatholm in the Severn estuary.
So he needed to prove they could go across water. So 100 years ago today, he actually transmitted to the island, the Flatholm Island. So the Flatholm Island became a stepping stone to future world communication.
Today that stepping stone was basking in the reflected glory of its place in history. While the seagulls noisily guarded their nests, a boatload of people arrived to mark the centenary. Draped in the Welsh and Italian flags, a monument to Marconi was unveiled by the Italian vice-consul. The sculpture symbolises the spark that changed the world.
We used a spark gap transmitter, so it was a spark of an idea translated into a spark gap transmitter, which then radiated from this spot to the far corners of the world in the future.
The identical messages Marconi both sent and received were duplicated today. They included profound words such as, "The tea here is good," but then the messenger was far more important than the message. The events which took place here 100 years ago today sparked a revolution in world communications, and it's a revolution many people believe still has much further to go.
You're watching Wales Tonight.